I always make the mistake of trying to record like right after I finish eating a meal, and I'm just coughing constantly. So you might have to deal with a lot of coughing. But I want to record now. I want to get this out. You can definitely tell we are really Oda's really serious about this being the end game of the story. Zach, if you watch the channel, my friend Zach asked the other day, he's like, do you think Oda actually, he does not read the series in the slightest, do you think Oda actually has any intention of ever ending the series? And I said yes. I think this, not just because the story seems so intentional and incredibly well planned out from the beginning, but I think the biggest takeaway that we're getting into the end game is the sheer concentration of big lore revelations and reveals that we've been getting lately. It seems like in previous arcs, for example Wano, things like the information dumps would be trickled out very slowly and sort of piecemeal teased over time. The sheer volume of reveals we've been getting in recent chapters. I mean, we had the Mirinal, of course, but also just constant stuff. And this chapter was insane levels of reveals and speculation. It shows me that Oda has intention to wrap this up soon. And by soon, I mean within the next 10 years. I would say, honestly, just based on the pace each thing's going, where what Egghead was 2 years, Wano was one was 4 years, things like that. I would say probably got another 6 or 7 years if I had to guess, from a rational perspective. But that's in terms of One Piece, which has been going on for almost 30 years now. That is, that's the end game. That makes a lot of sense. We're in the final stretch, and this chapter, God, definitely felt like it. I'm glad I sat on this chapter for a few days and waited to record. I was going to record the day of, but I just got so fucking busy. I was at a con this weekend, visited some relatives. I was just constantly busy, and this is the first time I'm able to really sit down at my computer pretty much past 4 or 5 days and record something. So I'm glad I sat on it, though, because I've been watching videos. I've been texting a lot with this One Piece group chat I'm in, and discussing theories, and it gave me a lot more perspective and thoughts on things. So I feel like I have a lot more to say now than I would have had to say a few days ago. So what I'm going to do is, rather than just try to give general blob thoughts, I'm going to go through the chapter as I tend to do lately when there's a lot of dense information to go through. I'm going to go through the chapter panel by panel and point things as I go. Obviously, because of Shueisha's incredibly strict copyright policies, where if you even you fucking show a page of a new chapter, you're fucked. You're out of there. I'm not going to be showing anything, but you can follow along whatever source you get your manga. So without further ado, let's dive into the chapter. So I love the cover spread. Robin looks amazing. Of course, she's placed right near Frankie, as happens on a lot of color spreads. I love this. I didn't even notice this the first time I was going through. Zoro looks cute as heck, but I didn't even notice this the first time after Nami is scared to cross the bridge, and she's clinging on to Jinbei, and Sanji's trying to be kind of guide her over, don't worry, it's fine. I thought that was so cute. So that's the cover spread. No Yamato cover story this week, but I love when Oda does these wallpaper fitting cover spreads. So yeah. So we're scrolling through. So yeah, we find out exactly how Harold and Rox know each other. They cross paths at Murray Joie during the Reverie that year. Does it say at the beginning of the chapter how many years this is? I know it says in the last chapter, but it does not say how many years exactly this is before that. But who would have thought we were getting Harold's flashback? I thought, oh, this is just going to be a Harold flashback. Oh, it's a Loki flashback. Oh, it's a Rox flashback. So much shit we did not expect. I did not expect to get the Rox flashback now. I really didn't. But, this is crazy. So, fucking Rox made it. Rox is a behemoth. He made it all the way into the what is it, the flower garden, whatever the room is called. This is gonna be the first and last of its kind. He made it into Emo's flower room, which is fucking possible because one, you have to know about Emo, which so few people do, and then two, like you have to have the sheer strength and willpower to make it to that point. Like that's an incomprehensible feat. Like I don't think any character in the current series could do it. Maybe Luffy, but like I'm thinking through like our big powerhouse right now. Like Gaban couldn't do it. I mean, we see Saruman Fred on one holy night. So like you think fucking Rocks have to get past Gaban. Like it's just crazy. It's just an insane feat. And the woman that seems to be there with like kneeling to Emu. At first I was like, oh, is that Gunko? But I think, was it Murphy that was saying the eyes are different? I didn't double check this myself. Let me I can Google Gunko right now, actually. It's a quick or as Melon T pronounce it, Gunko. Okay. So Gunko has... No, this looks the same to me as Gunko's eyes. I don't know. I'm looking at pictures of Gunko, and this looks pretty much the same to me. My initial thought that it is Gunko, but I think it could also be Gunko's mother. Depending on, like, what happened in the backstory. I think that's a very plausible thing as well. I could see that being the case. I think more likely it's just Gunko. I wonder, and hear me out. I wonder if like we're painting or so like I made like a video. I think when the stuff with Lily came out, I think I made a video called Ultimate Incel Emu. Like I wonder if we're painting Emu's gonna end up being like some sort of pervy incel to where he's like fixating on like on these attractive women because he had like Lily, who he still is fixated on because we saw Emu staring at the painting of Lily in modern day, so he's still fixated on Lily 800 years later, and now like he seems to be. Not only seems to be like Gunko is like his right-hand servant here, but it also like Gunko is the one he sends on the missions he chooses to possess when he is like trying to take a corporeal form outside of Mergeois. You know? So this is just my like tangents. And then it says the man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate. This is big. Because we made it like one page into this chapter and I'm like, what? Yeah, almost 10 minutes into the recording. This is kind of the chapter it is. The Davy Jonesian pirate thing, like we've only ever, and we'll get into the Davy Backfight thing, but the Davy Jonesian pirate thing we've only ever heard in the context of Davy Backfights. I think it was said that Davy Jones was this ancient pirate that sort of created the concept of the Davy fights, but I think that's literally all we knew in the series up to this point. And a lot of theories have come out of this line. My initial thoughts, and Morge said the same thing, and I think this made a lot of sense. And I'm leaning toward this at this point, is that Davy Jones is essentially like what Blackbeard is to Luffy and what Rocks was to Roger. I would say Davy Jones is to Joy Boy, and that was a Morge theory, and I thought that like seemed, in my opinion, that's what I'm leaning toward right now, I would say. But I also think that a popular theory that's floating around that my friend Alberto mentioned, and like I've seen pop up in a few videos here and there, is that mayhaps Davy Jones is another name for Joy Boy. And maybe that Davy Jones was his real name, and maybe they erased that name from history. But like still little like just like little like little drip feeds of rocks continue through history despite him being eradicated from history by the government. Maybe Davy Jones, like the same thing. Maybe Joy Boy, like how the same thing happened, and the name Davy Jones was kind of eradicated, but it still sticks out in these like little places. I think that's very plausible as well. And an expansion of that theory that I've heard going around is that Davy Jones is the D. Like, D is the descendant of Davy Jones. And that could apply to both of the lenses that I just discussed. But I think it makes more sense if, like, Joy Boy and the, Will of D is Will of Davy Jones and his real name was Davy Jones. But, yeah. And the other, another theory that's been around is that Davy Jones was, like, maybe Joy Boy was inheriting Davy Jones's will, and Davy Jones was like an even more ancient pirate. Like we don't have nearly enough information yet, but these are all just ideas and speculations that are coming back. So Rox couldn't do anything right now. That makes a lot of sense. I don't think, as insanely strong as he is to get there, I don't think he has the ability to defeat Emu in any form of combat or kill him. Especially if he knows about Emu, he probably knows of his nature as likely having the immortality surgery performed on him. So I don't see how... Rox clearly knows that he has no way of taking down Emu, but he wanted to make a statement to Emu. And he says right there, just wait one day, I'll be back. And this recontextualizes so much right here in this one correspondence. And it looks like Emu is like genuinely shocked by this. It's hard to tell, but like it looks like but this contextualizes so much because I think I talked about this last week, my theory that like Blackbeard might directly be possessed by the soul of Rox rather than even just being his son that inherited his will. I think both are plausible, but this makes so much sense because it literally, like, based on stuff like this, and the same thing with Hachinosu later in the chapter, which we'll get to, it really seems like Blackbeard is following a step-by-step plan of what Rox wanted to achieve. And by... he sent Katarina Devon to Egghead, and it was really weird at the time why two random Blackbeard pirates were at Egghead, because it didn't really fit. Like, why would they be there? Like, what was their point? But we saw that, I think Katarina touched Saturn, and with her ability, she's able to transform into someone. Obviously, they didn't know that Saturn was going to be killed right then and there, so that kind of, like, dampens the plan. But it seems like maybe Rox himself didn't get to make it back into the throne room, just wait one day, I'll be back. He didn't get to fulfill that, but Blackbeard is going to fulfill that will, and that's why he had Katarina Devon, on that as a step in. And it also gives us a hint at, like, what probably is happening in the, outside of Elbaf right now, because when Emu came, first of all, we heard there was a huge incident at Marijois, whenever Shaggy, who we don't know the identity of, is, I think it's Shirahoshi, but it could be anyone, we really don't know, was talking to Loki. There's some sort of incident we heard about. And also, when Emu possessed Gunko and, made presence in Elbaf, he said, like, essentially to all of the Holy Knights, like, why is this taking so long? There's the Marijois is in flame, you need to come back. And I think really this could be off screen the Blackbeard Pirates making their big move, making their move to do what Rox set out to do right now at Marijois and be back in Emu's throne room. I think that could very well be what's happening right now. And I wonder if we're going to get a scene where, like, Emu, through Gunko is doing something huge in Elbaf and is about to succeed something and then is stopped in Marijois by Blackbeard and co. And it, like, isn't able to complete. And maybe that's how the Straw Hats equal win against Emu right now. Is, like, maybe Emu is incapacitated by Blackbeard and is not able to continue the possession of Gunko. And, like, has to sort of retreat their presence from Elbaf. But, obviously naturally since whenever both like this shot's so fucking funny of and it seems like of Harold running through. So it seems like because he's up so huge and public facing and like is making a huge scene. It seems he thinks he's going to be scapegoated for Rox's behavior, so he's like, I gotta defeat Rox. But it seems like they leave on good terms. They like, I love that. Like, and they like help each other get out because they're so impressed by each other's strength, and they both seem to have insane like levels of conqueror's hockey. So they're so impressed by each other's strength. They help each other get out, and I love that. But yeah, that's another thing. Like one of Rox's defeats, he killed an admiral, and it's crazy. So Rox is making his move. At this time, he was operating solo, but I don't know if I said this before, but another interpretation of being a Davy Jonesian pirate that I see is someone that follows the traditions of Davy, like that I could propose. Someone just that follows the tradition of Davy Jones and recruits only through Davy back fights. And this makes so much more sense as to why all of these powerhouse pirates were so recruited by Rox. Is that he won them all in Davy back fights, and that's how he formed his crew. They won many scoundrels to their side before they even had a flag. So here's my interesting observation on that I thought. There in this chapter we see, and especially the way Rox is talking when he is talking to Harold here in the throne room, or in the palace, I don't know if it's the throne room, but the way he's talking, he has so much Luffy energy, and it's way more Luffy energy than Blackbeard, because Blackbeard and Luffy are polar opposites, but Rox seems to have a lot of Luffy energy, and I feel like it seems like they're very similar people, and that's what leads me to a lot of D speculation and D lineage speculation, but it also just gets to the thematic point of their key difference here between Rox and Luffy, and probably Rox and Roger, is that you can see it through their recruitment styles. Rox doesn't care about the person, doesn't care about their character, he cares about their strength only, and he doesn't even care about their loyalty. All he cares about is having them on his side to build strength to carry out his mission, and he'll use Davy back fights to recruit them without, Davy back fights are a surefire way to ensure a lack of loyalty when you're forcibly recruiting people, So, he doesn't even care about that. Well, Luffy is the polar opposite in his recruitment style, where he'll recruit absolute nobodies. He'll recruit people that have zero combat ability whatsoever, that have no strength whatsoever, just for their character and their friendship and their loyalty. So it's the polar opposite there, but also Luffy wants to be the freest in the world, does not care about governing, ruling, anything of that matter at all, while Rox wants to. They both want to be the freest in the world, but Rox wants to obtain it through controlling the world and bending it to his will, while Luffy wants to essentially obtain it by there being nothing to control, just ultimate freedom. And it's just such a fascinating look because we see how similar Rox behaves to Luffy in a lot of this, but there's these key thematic differences. And I think that's intentional. I think this is an intentional move by Oda to make Rox a lot like Luffy. But anyway, God, that's so fucking sad seeing Loki. Dad really came back. It has to be a coincidence. He wouldn't come back for me because he's incapable of understanding care and love. And and Harold is a bad father. He is. He's neglectful. He doesn't understand what's really going on with his son. But he cares. He genuinely cares about Loki. So we are then introduced to the members of Rox's crew that he has so far. We obviously know Whitebeard, and we obviously know Shiki and everything, and we know Stussy at this point. But there's others that are introduced here that are very interesting, are figures that we didn't even know existed. And these are Don Marlone. He's a gangster from the West Blue. I think the implication here clearly is that he's Capone Bage's father, or ancestor of some kind, or uncle, whatever, familial lineage there. And then we got Pirate Prophet Ochoku, future Commodore of Pirate Island. I think that he is clearly meant to be, oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? The Goop guy. How am I blanking on his name? What's his fucking name? I knew this would happen, that Treble would come up. I do not mean Treble. God, Caribou, that's his name, I remembered it. That's clearly Oshoku is Gonzui. I did not recognize. There are people saying he was one of the zombies in Thriller Bark that they thought. I didn't see the resemblance too much. I don't know if there's any Gonzui like theories that are going around, because I think these are all, who he might be looking at it right now. He might be a descendant of Lucky Roo. Like, just looking at him, he's eating. He has the little glasses. He has the same, like, facial structure. He might be a descendant of Lucky Roo. That's maybe my initial, like, leaning right now. But it's interesting to see, he does not have Big Mom yet. He does not have Kaido yet. He does not have, oh my god, what's the guy? The guy with the treasure, that Boogie Wooded, the guy that we saw in Thriller Bark. God, I'm totally blanking on his name. So obviously Harold does not want to join, Rox really wants Harold on his crew, but Harold obviously does not want to join because it would completely tarnish his reputation. He's trying to create, like, solid political standing, which I think he totally destroyed when he was sort of rampaging through Mary Joie. But, that's going to be the tragedy of Harold's story. No matter how much he tries to do things the right way, the government's just not going to let it happen. That's just going to be the tragedy of it. So he even, like, Harold actively even warns, like, his crewmates that, like, you should not follow this guy. But they're all, like, they're not following him. They all have their own goals. They're saying it would prove lucrative that they follow Rox. They don't actually care about Rox in any way. So he wants to form, it seems like exactly what Blackbeard was doing, where he wants to form sort of a so he wants to essentially form. They did like a backhand deal with the world government, like, we'll take back Hachinosu for you, but they're not handing it. They're not going to actually hand it back. So they're going to take Hachinosu and sort of make it their base of operations, turn it into a country, and use that. Rock says this is just the prologue of my life, using that as my base. I'll crush the Navy and bring the Holy Land crashing down after that. I'm going to be king of the world. Very Luffy X energy, and but yeah, this is the exact plan. This goes back to what I was saying before, where this is the exact plan that Blackbeard seems to be enacting in modern day. So whether he's directly possessed by Rox or he's just following his will to a T, that's exactly what's happening right now. And Loki is inspired by this, and it makes Hero overhearing this. It makes so much sense because Loki he has no concept of love and family, so he sees this fucked up, broken group of misfits that are all sort of in it for themselves, but sort of clinging together for the benefit. And he thinks, hey, this is what family is, because he has no concept of that. So it makes so much sense. And also just getting revenge on the whole damn world and sort of claiming the whole damn world. It seems so appealing for Loki. And it says Loki suddenly realized he had found salvation. And then we get the cut. He would send shockwaves. He took Kachinosu, and then we get the cut. Break next week, unfortunately. So that's it. That's the chapter. We made our way through it. What are we at? 25 minutes. Wow. Damn. I did not expect this to be that long, but there was a lot to say here. You could see this was an insanely dense chapter, and to go back to the beginning of the video to sort of circle it around, the amount of sheer lore we're getting in this chapter. When Rox was first introduced, in 2019, I think I looked it up. We got like little trinkets, and now we're just getting a whole like spout of lore like about Rox and was really going on there. It's clear that Oda is trying to, in as fast of a fashion as he can, while not compromising the story, which is probably going to be another 5 to 10 years. He is slowly but surely wrapping up the story at a pace that otherwise, like, we wouldn't have gotten a pace like this, a feed like this, So phenomenal chapter, 10 out of 10, of course. I hate that it's break week this week, but I've been thinking about diving back into the anime because of all the Kuma shit that's been happening and hearing how masterful that is. So who knows, maybe I'll watch and make a video about that too. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this chapter. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'd love to know your theories, thoughts, ideas, what you think of mine. I'd love to know your original ideas and thoughts. Like, make this conversation. Let's talk about the greatest story ever told together. So yeah, thank you for watching.